Okay, so I'm now standing in the grounds near to a farm where I've come back to England for. It seems incredible to me that less than a month ago I was down in Morocco enjoying beautiful weather and adventures with friends, and yet less than that month later I'm back in the UK with all the restrictions as a result of the coronavirus. I suppose I'm luckier than most, in as much as I've been able to come back to a farm where I've stayed on many occasions, and they're letting me stay here for a small cost, but it means that I'm secluded. I've got beautiful surroundings. I can go for walks in the nearby woodlands and forest and not really come into contact with any other people, which is really nice. It would be much nicer to still be on the road enjoying van life as I've done for the past 10 years. Getting back really was a bit of a problem, like the Great Escape really. Back at the beginning of February, my best friend came to spend a month or more with me in Morocco, and we've travelled there many times before. We enjoy the country, it's beautiful, and there were several places we wanted to visit which we managed to do. Niki's flight and the return flight was actually scheduled for March the 14th. A few days before that, she got an email to say that the flight had been cancelled because all flights into and out of Italy, where she lives, had been cancelled due to the coronavirus, which gave us a problem. The airline had said to get in touch and they would see if they could, reschedule or rearrange things, which obviously wasn't possible because no flights were going in and out of Italy. And so we were a bit stuck. We didn't really know what to do. And then we heard a rumour that in fact ferries were going to be actually stopped going into and out of Italy, and it could also be the same throughout other European countries, and with all the lockdowns that were coming into place. So we made the decision to leave Morocco and get back into Spain. At least if we were in Europe, then maybe we'd have a few more options. So that's what we did. We left our place down near Agadir and drove quickly up to Tangier Med in the port, and we were lucky enough to get on the last ferry leaving Tangier Med back to Algeciras in Spain. In actual fact, the ferry was delayed. It should have left at 8:30 in the evening, but it was probably gone 10, nearly 10:30 before it left, due to restrictions, and also everyone that was on board the ferry had to be checked, temperatures taken and things like that before we were allowed to board. And it was interesting that all of the staff in Tangier Med were wearing gloves and face masks and everything that we're now taking for granted. Anyway, we arrived back in Spain. We spent the night near to Algeciras, and then tried other options. We tried to see if there was a ferry going from Barcelona, which we travelled on before, and that wasn't possible. We looked online to see if there was any international railways, but there was no trains actually travelling back across to Italy. So it left us really, or for me, little choice to get Niki home, but to drive across Europe. So we set off, we drove all the way across Spain, all the way across France, and then through Switzerland until I reached the Swiss-Italian border, Chiasso. Now, because of the restrictions, I wasn't allowed to go into Italy, but what we found out is that Niki could actually go to the border. She could actually get a piece of paper from the border and the police to say that she was an Italian resident and that she then could travel in Italy. Nice to say that she's back home now. She's been back there obviously a while, and all things are good there, and obviously with the restrictions, but she's good and no issues. Having said goodbye to Niki, then I had to make my own way back, and everyone that was away from the UK was being urged to come back by the government, and I was keen to do that from the point of view that if you're a UK subject, then obviously medical care would be in our favour to be in our home country. We're not putting any pressure on any other countries. And as I was actually sort of just thinking about which way to go and things like that, most European countries were closing the borders, which was going to make it a bit difficult. But having got all the way across from Spain to the Italian border with Niki without really too many problems, we did have a little bit of a wait to get into Switzerland, but we got through in the end. So I made the decision to go directly back to the UK. So setting off from Chiasso, I drove back across Switzerland, back across France, clipping a corner of Belgium and then back through France to Calais. The journey went quite well. I did have a little bit of a delay coming from Switzerland into France. We were checked at the border. I was allowed to go through because I said I was actually making my way back home to the UK. And then, having sort of got through France a little bit, and had, as I said, cross a section of Belgium, and then the following day was back up into Calais. I managed to get a ferry back. I tried to get a ticket on the Eurotunnel train, but they were fully booked until April the 23rd, which was ridiculous. I mean, where would I stay for a month trying to get back? So eventually I managed to get a ticket on the P&O ferries from Calais back to Dover. And it seems I'm quite lucky there as well, because my ferry was due to depart in the early hours of the morning. And when I got there, there were actually only 2 cars, a small van and myself, other than the trucks bringing food into the UK, etc. And I did learn the following day, when I was back in the UK, that in fact there was a strong possibility that all ferries would be restricted purely to freight. So whether that's the situation now, I'm not sure, but at least I got back into the UK. And made my way up to where I am now, which is, as I say, on a farm, nice people in a nice situation. And so here I am for the duration. I don't know how long it's going to be and what it's going to take before we get back to some sort of normality, but at least I'm in an area where I'm secluded. I can go out for my once-a-day exercise and walk in the woods and the forest, and that gives me a lot of pleasure and keeps me active. And I only go shopping once a week, and obviously I'm wearing a face mask and gloves when I go to the local supermarket, so it's not too bad. So it's just a question now of hunkering down, keeping with the restrictions that we've got, and hopefully it won't be that long before we can get back to enjoying the van life, which I've done, as I said before, for the last 10 years. It does seem really restrictive though, and unusual to be stuck in one place for a long period of time, but that's life and we will have to live with it. It's a global thing, it's not just obviously one for England or Europe, it's a global thing, and it looks like it's going to get worse before it gets better. So, in order to save lives, as our government is telling us, stay at home, only go out for once a day to exercise or go to the supermarket or to go get medical attention or whatever. Other than that, stay at home. Protect the NHS by staying at home and not allowing the coronavirus to spread too much more, and in turn that will save more lives. So let's hope we can do that and everyone follows the rules.